Hello, I'm Lars Jacobson. I'm the camp commander for Camp 49 of the Sons and Union Veterans of the Civil War here in Sycamore. And today I am welcoming you to our segment of the annual cemetery walk, which we're conducting this year virtually. Today we're at Elmwood Cemetery, and we're bringing you Edward P. Safford, who is a prominent Sycamore resident and also Civil War veteran. And we have a special guest today. We actually have Edward P. Safford's great-grandson, Edward L. Safford, who's going to come and tell us a little bit about his great-grandfather. So, Edward, if you'd come on, that'd be great.
Thank you very much, Lars. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about some of my family history. Edward Payson Safford, or EP as he's known in the family, was my great-great-grandfather. He was born in 1837 in New Hampshire. In 1858, at age 21, he moved to Illinois, joining his uncle Henry Safford, who was farming in South Grove Township, west of Sycamore. In 1862, he enlisted in Company A of the 105th Illinois Regiment, which was organized at Dixon and enrolled men from DeKalb and DuPage counties. For the first year, the regiment trained and was assigned to various commands until August of 1863, when it was assigned to the Union Army of the Cumberland, posted at Nashville. During this time, EP was promoted to Company First Sergeant. Nashville at that time was a focal point for escaped slaves and ones that had been liberated by the Union Army, and many of these were recruited into the Army. Ultimately, a new regiment was formed, the 14th U.S. Colored Infantry, and this unit needed officers, so senior non-commissioned officers from the regular Army were chosen to command the new units in the 14th. In 1863, then, November 1st, EP was commissioned captain in the 14th U.S. Colored Infantry. The 14th was stationed at Nashville with occasional actions as needed. In August of that year, their first enemy contact was successful. They drove the Confederate forces out of Dalton, Georgia. The unit commander at the time commented, "The conduct of the entire regiment was good. It was its first encounter, and it evinced soldierly qualities. The men were brave, and the officers were cool." In the fall of that year, the unit moved south, part of Sherman's March to the Sea, and on October 27th, then 500 strong, they reached Decatur, Alabama. They were ordered there to attack an enemy battery which had been installed on the west edge of the town. And from the record, the 14th charged and took the battery, spiked the guns, and captured 14 prisoners. In this action, the 14th suffered 55 casualties, 2 killed, and 1 missing. Colonel Doolittle in the command structure commented, "But to Colonel T.J. Morgan and his command, 14th U.S. Colored Infantry, in this I am especially indebted. His skill in handling his men and his bravery under fire are worthy of notice." And Major General R.S. Granger, higher up in the command structure, said, "The action of the colored troops under Colonel Morgan was everything that could be expected or desired of soldiers. The men, they were cool, brave, and determined, and under heaviest fire of the enemy exhibited no signs of confusion." One of the wounded in this action was E.P. Safford. He took a ball to the hip, which lodged in his hip next to the bone, but was fired from a distance, so it had not enough strength to break the bone. Later, that ball was removed surgically, and it is to this day in the family archives. In 1865, in April of 1865, EP resigned his commission as a consequence of his injury and returned home. Returning home, his uncle Henry had become county sheriff, and so EP served at least one term as a deputy under his uncle, and then in 1868 he was elected to a term as county sheriff. I remember my great Aunt Mary, one of his daughters, who lived with us occasionally when I was growing up, talking about living in the jail, because in those days that's where the sheriff and his family lived. And of course his wife got the pleasure of cooking for not only her family, but the residents of the jail as well. In 1872, EP purchased the farm in Mayfield Township where I now live, and my brother farms. He served as a township supervisor, and to this day there is a document posted on the wall in the Mayfield Town Hall bearing his signature. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk about my history.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come. Incidentally, after that, about the turn of the century, EP retired from farming, moved back into Sycamore, into town, and he actually owned the house at the corner of Ottawa Street and Somonauk, 328 Somonauk Street. So I was actually featured on last year's House Walk. So if you want to go see EP's house, that's where it's at. We have a special thing we're going to do today for EP and for Edward here. As you can see, EP's Grand Army of the Republic grave marker has seen better days, missing a few pieces here. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace that. So you can take that and put that in the family archives with the ball from his hip.
Thank you.
And we're going to go ahead and install this new one that has all of its appendages. And hopefully the lawnmower won't hit this one. So there we go. So thanks for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk to you the next time. Oh, actually, one more thing. EP actually spoke at the dedication ceremony of a plaque, bronze plaque, honoring a young man who was killed in World War I. So this was in 1919, 1918, that time frame. And that plaque is at a grave right over there in the cemetery, and we're going to feature that young man in another one of our videos of the cemetery walk. His name is Lucius Whedon. So when you see that video, you'll know EP actually spoke at that dedication ceremony. So thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. I'll give you the COVID elbow bump.
Thank you.
Have a good one.